my name is Rüdiger Bohn. I'm the head of the Arms Control Department at the German Foreign Ministry in Berlin. And the department deals with a full range of arms control, non-proliferation, and disarmament issues, ranging from nuclear, conventional weapons to biological or chemical threats, and also including new technologies. There is no specific battlefield. We think that due to the military capabilities enhanced by new technologies, we potentially face a multitude of simultaneous developments that will alter the nature of warfare and expand the battlefield to new domains, including the cyberspace or outer space. The notion new technologies covers a wide range of different technologies like artificial intelligence, quantum computing, biotechnologies, and new missile technologies, which harbor the potential for disrupting strategic balances, fueling arms races across the globe, and also posing challenges to traditional arms control frameworks, and in some cases to the adherence to international law and armed conflicts, including ethical norms. If we take a look at the most recent conflicts, like the ones between Armenia and Azerbaijan, or the conflict in Ethiopia, or of course now the Russian aggression against Ukraine, we see, for instance, that unmanned aerial vehicles or drones can play a rather significant role on the battlefield. Drones do not represent a completely new technology, but are steadily developed further and are about to at least partly replace manned aircraft and thus changing the nature of conflicts. So we think it's even more important to look at the interplay of various technological developments. Nowadays, missiles become faster, more precise, more stealthy, and more autonomous due to a combination of new technologies. Modern missiles also support the trend of reducing the role of manned jet fighters, and countries or even some non-state actors that do not have proper air forces can enter the race by means of drones and missiles. And if they have access to technological advanced technologies, for instance, in the field of biotechnology, they can come close to producing horrible weapon systems. And this touches on an additional problem. Today, technological development of military systems is more and more driven by developments in the civil industrial sector. That means that access for non-state actors becomes easier. This is in particular true for the cyber realm. There we face serious threats with the potential to disrupt critical infrastructures. This is a cross-border issue that requires multilateral cooperation. And this also applies to the outer space. We increasingly rely on important infrastructures in space, including communication technologies for civil and military purposes, which is extremely vulnerable, especially if we consider the development of missile technologies. But in these new domains, cyberspace and outer space, military attacks are not the only or not the most likely challenge. Dual-use technologies are, if misused for malicious purposes, fully sufficient to create a lot of damage, and afterwards attribution might be difficult. So in summary, I'd say we must not concentrate on only one of these fields, on one technology, but instead we have to consider them simultaneously in relation to each other and in relation to existing weapon systems, because most likely in the battlefield of the future, new technologies will not fully replace, but rather complement current means and methods. We have to identify how and where they will be employed and what the impact is on the battlefield and on our understanding of armed conflicts and arms control. I think today it becomes increasingly clear that we need a new approach to arms control, new concepts. We are about to move beyond counting tanks and aircraft. Instead of the traditional object-based approaches, we seem to need more behavior-based arrangements, more focus on the responsible use of new technologies and compliance with international law, including also ethical norms. And this is one lesson learned from the discussions and the debates on creating norms and rules for the cyberspace, for outer space, and for lethal autonomous weapon systems that are sometimes called killer robots. Only these behavioral norms can address the dual use problem. One cannot ban computers or satellites, but it would be useful to have rules for instance, for what satellites or other spacecraft should or should not do in outer space. So norms for responsible use of new technologies is one key concept here. Another lesson learned is that we need a multi-stakeholder approach to advanced norms for new technologies. We need the cooperation of scientists, representatives of industries, of armed forces and diplomacy to deal with the complexities of new technologies. Yeah, I think what we need today are two things. We need more awareness building with regard to challenges posed by new technologies, and we have to work on norms and rules. As to awareness raising, in 2019, the German Foreign Ministry launched the initiative Capturing Technology, Rethinking Arms Control. Similar to the SIPRI's Stockholm Security Conference, our goal was to use a series of conferences and workshops to bring together and provide a platform for international experts from science, academia, diplomacy, military and industry to discuss emerging technologies. And this type of initiatives can help foster and develop options for future arms control and emphasize the urgency of concrete responses to the challenges of new technologies. For example, Germany has jointly with other EU countries initiated a strategic process in the framework of the EU in order to enable informal discussions about the responsible military use of new technologies. And Germany also launched the so-called Missile Dialogue Initiative in 2019 in order to promote the discussion on new missile technologies and their impact on the battlefield of the future and possible arms control approaches. But of course, conferences and workshops are not enough. Germany is very active in the respective diplomatic fora that already exist and that try to address new technologies and arms control. And here I refer to the respective UN frameworks that work on norms and rules for lethal autonomous weapon systems and space security, cybersecurity, which mainly meet in Geneva and in New York. The challenges of new technologies are global, and therefore the UN is the right framework. And these UN GGEs and OEWGs are still at the beginning of forging norms and rules. And these negotiating processes are sometimes really difficult and cumbersome, but the challenge will not go away, and Germany will continue to, together with others, with partners, to increase the momentum and the substance of these discussions.